This book moves fairly quickly. We're talking maybe 300 pages. And Frieda's books are like this. They're designed to be read in one sitting. And that's
to all
I'm
the
serious.
book girlies.
That is,
yes, they're designed
to all
to
the book
be in
girlies,
one setting.
They are.
To normal
Frieda McFadden's
people
books are
who have lives, you can read this book chunk by chunk. As I was reading it the first time, I was very frustrated. I'm like, oh my god, this bitch, why are we doing this? We're just mad at the housemaid, the maid, you know, and we're just old and we're upset and we're mentally unstable and we're just gonna take it all out on
She's
Millie.
old. She's like in her mid to late 30s.
Yeah, she's not
fine.
old. she's older.
Old.
Listen, I'm in my 30s and my knees creak now, so I'm feeling old. If you had to live inside the world of the last book you read, how screwed are you?
So, actually, speaking of monster romance, I'd be fine because I'm currently reading the Haven Ever After series, it's called, by Hazel Mack, and it is such a fun, silly, lighthearted, goofy time. It's kind of like Halloween Town for adults. It's spicy.
So, a book that I really think is overhyped, and again, as Ashley said, hope we're in a safe space here, is basically everything in the Empyrean series after Fourth Wing. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, Fourth Wing was a 5-star for me, and then Iron Flame was a 4-star, and Onyx Storm was a 3-star for me. So it just progressively has gotten less and less, and I feel like I don't understand the hype anymore, and as much as I want to be a part of it, I'm just struggling.
Welcome, Night Owls, to the Book Club After Dark podcast, an inviting moonlit podcast. I'm your host, Danny.
And I'm Michelle. We break down fantasy, romantasy, and thriller novels.
All things enchanting, intriguing, suspenseful, and maybe a little spicy.
Each episode features intimate discussions on captivating stories, character breakdowns, fan theories, and more. And this is your content warning. This podcast contains mature themes and discussions that may not be suitable for all audiences. Episodes include explicit language and descriptions of mature romance, as well as depictions of violence and other intense subject matter. This podcast is rated R for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
And going forward from here, there are going to be lots of spoilers for The Housemaid by Frieda McFadden. So consider this your spoiler warning.
Let's get cozy because the best stories are told after dark.
Tonight's drink of the episode is called The Housemaid's Punch.
Ooh.
Take a look at that right there. We've got crushed ice, fruit punch, naturally, lime juice, vodka, and I put the crushed ice in. So you do the shaker with the non-carbonated, and then you're going to top it with a lime sparkling water. You can just use regular sparkling water if you want, but I went with a lime option. So I'm going to post it to our socials and what we made here, but reason for the housemaid's punch, I feel like, is pretty obvious because she ends up getting her revenge and exacting her revenge in this story. And I thought the fun flavors of having the fruit punch, we haven't really done a fruit punch drink before. I was like, this would be something cool to mix into something that we haven't done before. And I like the play on words of having the punch element as related to our story. So, housemaid's punch right here.
Right.
Cheers.
And that could definitely be a mocktail for sure. With just
yep,
yeah, fruit punch, sparkling water, yep,
lime
any flavor,
fresh lime juice, really good, and it's actually super refreshing. There's not a lot of vodka in this. I went light on it, but you could do heavier or lighter. It's up to you. But you could totally omit the vodka, and it's a perfect mocktail. It has a nice little great mocktail like bite-ish to it, and then the fresh lime juice sets it apart versus just a fruit punch, right? So yeah, absolutely delicious.
Love a good mocktail, especially now.
Very true. Yeah. So tonight we are exploring The Housemaid by Frieda McFadden. If you've been with us, we've got our OG fans who have been listening since the start, know that we actually have covered this book before. Very, very beginning of Book Club After Dark, we covered this book as a live run through. We did this we have a Discord channel, which we have not relaunched yet. So spoiler, we might be doing that at some point soon in the near future. But we did have a Discord where we ran through The Housemaid as a book that we covered because we loved it so much. when we started our show last year. So we're going to do it as an episode this time. And whether you're reading along with us or you're just here for the book talk, we're glad that you're here. We are going to run through The Housemaid. And what I mean by that is we're not going to do this as a traditional thriller in total. We are going to cover it as a thriller. We will go through the primary synopsis of our story, where it takes place, what's happening, key events. We're also going to talk about this one specifically because it's going to be a movie that's coming out at the end of this year. We may or may not be partnering with some folks locally to put something together, but that's another reason why we wanted to cover this book in an episode. One other thing that we have that's going to be awesome and tying into this episode is our interview segment with another amazing podcast featuring Ashley and Liz from Besties and the Books. If you were following along with us on our socials, you saw that they featured us on their show very recently, and we had the awesome opportunity to feature and interview them as part of our show. So we'll talk more about them here in a little bit as we get started. So primary focus of the episode, we're going to start with our drink of the episode, which we just did. We're going to go through our book, The Housemaid, wrap up with some information about the film that'll be premiering with that book, and we will close out our episode with our interview with Besties and the Books. And then, of course, we'll round out the very, very end with our mystery Q&A. So,
Can't forget
Michelle, kick us off.
All right, so our story takes place in Long Island, primarily at the residence of the Whitakers. So The Housemaid by Frieda McFadden is a psychological thriller, so definitely expect some mind bending with this. It explores themes of power, manipulation, secret, and revenge, big time. Story centers on Millie. So Millie is struggling to rebuild her life after essentially slamming right into rock bottom. And she gets this job as a housemaid for a wealthy couple named Whitaker. And she sees this opportunity to basically bring stability to her life, which she hasn't had in quite some time. However, as the story progresses through the chapters, you quickly learn that things at the Whitakers are not as they seem. Things may seem pristine, picture perfect on the outside, but on the inside there are dark, dark secrets. And Millie's new position, because she's a caretaker, she's the housemaid here, she gets access to her lives, probably more than she really would like, but she gets complete access and sees all of their secrets all laid out. The narrative expertly explores Millie's moral decisions, the complex dynamic between class and power, because we definitely have the Whitakers are high society, very upper class, whereas our main character is definitely less than.
Let's get out of prison.
Yeah.
She was living in her car.
Yep. And it also explores the lengths a person might go in order to survive or achieve revenge. So that connects us to our ending. There are a lot of twists, betrayals, definitely some unreliable narration at times, which keeps the reader on edge of their seat. McFadden crafts compelling, morally gray characters, hint or Andrew, who at first seems pretty likable, but then you realize who he is like deep down on the inside, and we hate his guts. And yeah, he's awful. Yep.
Piece of shit.
But fortunately, we the good guys always win, or at least the morally right, morally
gals in this
gray
time,
right
yeah.
People, because let's
be
be honest,
think the police officer too, and the gardener.
Right.
Well, everyone's done their part here.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody did a little bit of their part in this story.
Yes, they did.
So let's get into the setting. The setting of The Housemaid by Frieda McFadden it is the whole story, which is what's it's not the whole story, but it's almost the whole story, which is really cool about what's going to happen visually in a film. So I like movies that do well on their own with characters versus taking you a lot of places. And this film will be like that because the vast majority of this book takes place in one house. In the front yard a little bit, in the house, in different rooms. So what happens is throughout the story, you're building all this tension in one setting. You're not moving a whole bunch of places. Everything's taking place in the same home. And it brings this tension through these characters. And you have to rely on the narration and the dialogue that happens or lack thereof between these characters. And what leads you to read through this is what I'm interested in seeing on screen too is There's a lot of thought processes that happen that lead to assumptions that she makes, and I'm curious to see how they thread that visually. But the setting as a whole takes place at the Whitaker's house, which is a wealthy suburban mansion, a northeastern suburbia. And we're talking about an area that is very affluent. It matters where your child goes to school. It matters who you surround yourself with. It matters what your spouse does for work. It matters if the mom is working or not. Does she need to? You know, they have a gardener. This type of affluence where these little things are definitely on display. Your neighbors are very nosy. Everybody kind of knows what's going on. This is the social status of where we're at. Whereas Millie, as I said before, has been living in her car and just got out of prison. And she is trying to keep this history of herself kind of under wraps. And I love Millie, especially once we find out more about how dynamic she is as a character and what landed her in prisoner in the first place. But her emotional state throughout this is she keeps feeling like psychologically really tense. She's not understanding. She kind of views this whole world and the Whitakers the wrong way almost the entire time until we get to the end. And we realize that, you know, Mrs. Whitaker is not who we thought at all. And we see this whole twist, neither is Mr. Whitaker. We see this whole twist of kind of how this plays out. One thing I really enjoyed, and I don't know about you, but one thing I really enjoyed is that there wasn't really a focus on, there is a child, there's a daughter, but there's not like a huge focus on her as a character. It's really, she's mentioned, but it's really focused on the adults. And because it's such a thriller where the villain is, you know, her stepdad, basically, I kind of like the element that it was not super played up that she's involved or aware of anything else. I like that we stayed away from that. Whereas in like, you know, Colleen Hoover's Verity and things like the kids get involved in some of the trauma. That doesn't really happen in this book. And while they're involved, sort of, she's not really a main driver of any type of trauma, the daughter.
No, if anything, she's just kind of used as a catalyst at some points, especially with like the whole peanut butter situation. Like she has an allergy. Does she not have an allergy? That sort of thing. So they use her.
The mind games.
Yeah. Slightly for the mind games, but it's not, they don't only use her. She's just kind of one of the little pawns in the game that is the Whitakers. So, which is also very sad because she is a child. But, you know, using your child in any sort of aspect isn't good. But
no.
This is very minimal in terms of what most thrillers go through.
Yes. And that's kind of what I was getting at. In terms of what most thrillers kind of do when they bring a child into a storyline, I thought this was, she's relatively unscathed. Because some of the ones I've read are not even close to that. So I was kind of nice to see. Sure. Millie's coming into this and she really, at the first part of it, is really just like, I don't need any drama. Like, I am not trying to fuck this up. Like, this is my golden ticket. Everything needs to go well. I need to, like, keep this going as best as I can and try to stay in this situation as long as possible. And because of that, she starts to kind of look the other way at things she should not have because she really can't lose this opportunity. And that's emphasized as well.
Right. And I think that goes a lot into her perspective and her isolation, both physically and just emotional isolation that she experiences. Her room, so they live in a mansion. She has like this one room that has a lock on the outside and it's very small, like very, very tiny room, clearly an afterthought. She's shoved in there. If you go into someone's house and a door locks from the outside, that is immediate red flag. Like that is no, you just run the other way.
It's enough.
But here she's trying to look past it. And then obviously with the mind games and Andrew's flirtation and him trying to really seduce her to manipulate her, it really gets her in this not just physical isolation in her own little room where she can't have literally anything in there, to her emotional isolation and really just her having this battle of whether, like, am I doing something right? Am I doing something wrong? I'm walking on eggshells at all times. I have feelings for Andrew. I shouldn't have feelings for Andrew. And, you know, Nora's my boss. But
I
she's
feel
kind
bad
of
for him because his wife is crazy. I feel bad for him because his wife is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of, again, this is a psychological thriller. A lot of it's psychological and what happens in Millie's head and like the manipulation and the mind games.
Mm-hmm. And so that kind of brings us to our chapter by chapter timeline, which we'll run through fairly quickly. So the initial setup is, we kind of discussed this already. Millie is fresh out of prison. She's trying to get this job. She gets hired by Nina, and she can't believe that this happens. Her first red flag, like Michelle mentioned, is that her room is the small, dirty, locked from the outside thing. Brings us to chapters 5 through 10. And this book moves fairly quickly. We're talking maybe 300 pages. And Freida's books are like this. They're designed to be read in one sitting. And that's...
to all
I'm
the
serious.
book girlies,
That is,
yes, they're designed
to all
to
the book
be in
girlies,
one setting.
They are.
To normal
Frieda McFadden's
people
books are, yes,
who have lives, you can read this book chunk by chunk. If you're
like me,
who doesn't
and you
sleep,
want to read it in one sitting, you can. You can read this book in an afternoon and evening and be done with The Housemaid. Oh, geez, we're gonna have to
just tossing the shit everywhere.
Her thriller books are fairly short. Okay, what about a romantic-y girly? Okay, those are 700 pages.
Well,
Come at
obviously
me.
you're not.
All right.
You're not consuming a romantasy in one day. If you're consuming any of those in one day, like, you need sleep.
You've dropped everything.
You just
you
don't exist anywhere else in the world for that 24-hour period or whatever it is. Not saying it's not doable, because I believe with the
we could do
Ashes in the Star Curse King, when I got that, it was a 2-day bender that I just kind of binged it. So, but and that's a thick book. But I did nothing else for that day. Those 2 days.
We needed to know
what
was going on with Rain.
Exactly.
This is important.
It's important stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, the thriller design, and for us, to be honest, I love them as a genre, but I think they're kind of a palate cleanser for us too, because we do read these massive fantasies, and to break up those massive worlds and stories, a thriller just fits so well with that. And they're not a commitment level that is, 700, 800, 1,000 pages, multiple
then
series.
Waiting for
all this. They're
re-releases.
Standalones, right? We have a standalone and it fits in. But anyway, now that we've segued completely off of our topic here,
per usual,
you could read this if you so desire as a standalone, because it's only 300 pages. But that's why we're going to kind of pump through these chapters fairly quick, because it's a fast-paced book. It's meant to be read quickly. It's meant to keep that tension going. You have cliffhangers on these chapters. You're realizing that things are not what they seem. Again, very traditional in this genre. Freida is an absolute pro at this, who is also has a full-time other career. So to have as many New York Times bestsellers as she has, and also have another career that she just pen names under Freida, is like, what?
What?
How do you do this, lady? You're crazy. But we love her for it, and great. So chapters 5 through 10, we discover this dysfunctional household. Millie's starting her job. She's getting yelled at by Nina for her her sloppiness, that she's not good enough. Cecilia, the daughter, is just like a brat. And Andrew is just like this perfect doting husband. He warns Millie, like, Nina has, mental health issues that we're working through, and, she needs a lot of help, and we're trying to work through those things. So he appears like this great little angel husband who's just doting and the nicest little guy. He's just a nice guy.
Little
and
guy.
No one understand. Well, because I view him as little in the sense of like, he's small-minded and psychotic. So like, little.
Yeah.
Not physically little. We also have a hot gardener. Don't forget the hot gardener.
The hot gardener is
gardener. Very important. He's also important book too. We also know that actually The Housemaid is a series, coincidentally. I know I just got done saying how a lot of thrillers are standalone. You could read this as a standalone. It is a series, but you could absolutely read just The Housemaid and that be it. You could absolutely read just The Housemaid, or you could read all of the books. It's up to you if you want. There are multiple books in this series that the gardener, again, plays another role in. If you want to keep going, you can. Tonight, we're only going to cover The Housemaid. But I just want to plug that in there, that this book story does continue, but you could literally leave off at the housemaid and still feel satisfied at that ending. At least I did.
Yeah, for
What
sure.
were your thoughts?
I did too. I mean, I know the story does continue, but I think this story wraps itself in a nice little bow for them. Like, at least for this, plot line. There's no questions on the ending, whether, revenge was had and there were any loose ends in terms of that.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
next it goes into chapter 11 through 15, which is more of confusion, gaslighting, confusion on Millie's part, and obviously the gaslighting. She's manipulating Millie. As I was reading it the first time, I was very frustrated. I'm like, oh my God, this bitch. Why are we doing this? We're just mad at the housemaid, the maid, and we're just old and we're upset and we're mentally unstable and we're just going to take it all out on
She's
Millie.
old. She's like in her mid to late 30s.
Yeah,
but
she's
that's
not
fine.
old.
She's
older. Listen, I'm in my 30s and my knees creak now, so I'm feeling old. So, but Millie notices Nina has like these wild, crazy mood swings. Like one day she's fine, or 1 minute she's fine, and then the next she's getting scolded for something. Nina makes strange, panic comments to Millie as if she's trying to like warn her of something, warn her of Andrew, but she's like, she's building this positive relationship with Andrew from her perspective, so it doesn't connect with her and she gets really confused. Andrew confides more about how hard it is living with Nina because poor you, Andrew. And this
poor
is,
you.
She
Nina's
trusts him.
so difficult.
She trusts him and finds him quite attractive because he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be attractive, and he's supposed to come off as this trustworthy character that you're supposed to love, which I do applaud McFadden's job to do that.
And yeah, he's the breadwinner. He's the one with the money. And, Nina's just hanging around, doing nothing, and just causing more problems and drama and just awful. And he's just the most caring.
Yes. Then we have our fear. This is where fear starts kind of getting settled. And Millie discovers that she tries to get up one night and leave and realizes that, wait, her door's locked from the outside. So again, if a door is locked, has the ability to do so, that's a red flag. And here she's like, what the fuck? And she's thinking it's Nina the whole time. And she's, gets really freaked out by this. And I don't blame her. I would too. If all of a sudden I'm like just trapped.
Exactly.
Because she doesn't have she has like this tiny, tiny window. It's not like she has any way to escape. Like literally, like just think of safety in general. If the house caught on fire, she'd die. Ultimately.
Yeah, she can't get out. Yeah.
Yep. Nina confronts her with accusations, stealing, plotting, being untrustworthy. And Andrew comforts Millie, reinforcing the idea that Nina is just paranoid and delusional and there's nothing wrong with you. You're fine. You're perfect, actually. And Millie has this conflicting feelings of, Nina is irrational, but something about Andrew feels too perfect. Like he cannot be this perfect. And he cannot be at all. There's a reason.
Yeah. And so the cheating begins. Obviously, we know that Millie starts hooking up with Andrew. And because she feels bad, she knows that she shouldn't, but she feels bad that, Nina is this terrible wife and, doesn't take care of her husband and all of this whole storyline. But different things that start to show up where in chapters 21 through 25 that are more evidence that Nina is actually not insane and is actually terrified. Absolutely terrified, cripplingly so, of Andrew.
Don't blame her.
And she realizes, no. Andrew starts at this time to like be more possessive and controlling of like of Millie and what, like there's text messages and there's just these different dynamics of power that are at play here of like phone calls and different things like that. And the way that Freida writes this in is so well done. She just does a very good job of pacing the tension between these characters. You don't need a whole bunch of characters to have these really intense, dramatic moments. And Freida does a very, very good job of having 4 or 5 characters tops. And that's all you need to have an excellent, excellent story. Yeah. Millie realizes eventually that the addict has this dark history and that Nina has been locked in there before as punishment. She finds this out.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, fuck. What's going on here?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then she realizes from this that Andrew is a piece of shit. He abuses Nina. Nina's the victim. She's not crazy, although, being abused the way that she was in this locked room obviously would leave some psychological trauma to her, but we understand. His kindness to Millie was just part of this manipulation cycle he's repeated before, ultimately, so that she can replace Nina, be the person, the object of his abuse, ultimately. Nina reveals, details of her abuse, the control, lies, imprisonment. A lot of the abuse stemmed from Andrew's perception of Nina having to be perfect. So, he would have her on a treadmill, calorie count. You need to look a certain way. If you don't, you're locked in this room and you're going to do what I tell you to do, or you're just stuck in there.
He also used her daughter against her in multiple ways. And ultimately, she had an accident, basically, and he was able to frame the entire story to make it look like child abuse and that she could be an unfit mother. So the reason Nina has worked towards this whole plan and revealing this to Millie is she's setting up her way of getting back at Andrew, and it has to be perfect, and it has to make Andrew think it's his idea. And so her manipulation of this and the way she plays this so well is Nina can't now not be crazy. She can't tell Millie right away. She has to play this role because the only way to get out from under the thumb of Andrew, because Andrew will ruin her life. He has already threatened it multiple times. He'll take her child, and that's a non-negotiable for Nina. So she's like, how do I get this motherfucker? What am I supposed to do? So she's gonna figure out a way to trap Andrew in the attic and reverse the punishment on Nina. So there's tension that rises here because you can tell that Andrew's becoming unhinged
very much
over time. He's not doing well. Yeah, he's not doing well. But we get to chapter 35 and then through to the finale. There's this confrontation where Andrew is trying to assert dominance, and in this dramatic moment, what happens is Andrew actually thinks he's gonna trap Millie, and she turns on him and gets him in there. And the one time that Andrew had abused Millie, he had her put books on top of her for hours and hours and hours before he would come back. And he had this video baby monitor on the inside. And so she does the same thing to him for way longer and is like, well, I'm going to give you a wrench and you need to remove your tooth. And the way that I almost tried to incorporate something like that for the drink of the episode, but I was like, no, that's very Leather and Lark. We're not going to do that. But she knew the whole time that she's just going to let him die, which brings us to the conclusion of how Millie got into prison in the first place, which was because she freaking killed somebody in self-defense who was a guy that was a rapist in college. She killed him and had really no remorse about it because this guy was a sexual predator. And so now with Andrew, she's like, I was already going to kill his ass. I didn't care. I accepted what was going to happen. And what happens later is when the cops come and they're interviewing her, Andrew had done this before and had actually killed his first person he was first in a relationship with. And the cop that interviewed her was the parent of that woman. Right. And so he knows that Andrew was murdered. Obviously, it was not accidental. The guy had a tooth ripped out and he died of starvation. And he clearly So they're like, how did this happen? Blah, blah, blah. And so he knows this. And you also get glimpses of the gardener. The gardener comes up a lot more in later books, but Millie doesn't have a ton of interaction, but Nina definitely did. And Nina had a history with the gardener. And then the gardener too, gives a warning throughout the story and is telling Millie she should be careful and all of this. And the whole time Millie's thinking he's talking about Nina and he's not. He's
No.
talking about Andrew, but she like does not piece that together. I don't know. What were your thoughts about the finale?
I really liked how they tied in the past and how the dad was the cop and things came full circle for her. I liked that. I was like, okay, that was a nice little tie. Obviously, we like that Andrew, you know, got his comeuppance, if you will.
Oh, he dies.
And
yeah.
Not a nice death either, which as he deserves.
No.
And then Enzo. So I did like the incorporation of Enzo the gardener and how he I in this book, his role, like you said, was really minor, but it was just enough to have him be important in planting seeds and being someone who witnesses a lot that goes on. So I did
like
enjoy the
that you did
ending.
that. Planting seeds. He's a gardener.
Oh, unintentional, but
Yeah.
I just
Hey,
her books are always so neat. Like this isn't the first book I've read
They
from
are.
her, but all of them are so neat and not like a cliche type neat. There's always a twist, and you know, and even if the twist sometimes is obviously in this case like you would know that with the Housemaid there's the perfect couple. The perfect couple obviously isn't going to be like perfect. Still, the
Right.
twists, the aspects of the twists aren't entirely predictable, and they're entertaining, and I just like the neatness of her writing. We have a conflict,
Yeah.
things get tied
well,
very
even on
prettily,
the
and
book cover, the book cover is the girl's eyes looking through a keyhole. And when you look at that, if you haven't read the book, you're thinking the housemaid is looking in on them.
Mhm.
And like, you're thinking, is she the one that's like the bad person in this? But that couldn't be. She's actually trapped behind it,
Mhm.
you know, behind the keyhole.
Yep.
So you're not really piecing it together until, so it's just like something so small has like so many more like layers to
Layers.
it. And she does that very, very well. Yeah. Which is why it's going to be a movie from coming out from Lionsgate. It'll be releasing Christmas Day. And as I mentioned before, we're working to partner with Authentic Books to put together an event for The Housemaid once it releases. So we thought, hey, let's record an episode. Since we talked about it when we first started Book Club After Dark, we wanted to film an episode that captured the love for this book. And that way we'd had something where people could go back and re-listen. I'll get a quick recap of the story to get their minds fresh before the movie. Again, it doesn't release until Christmas Day, but we wanted to go ahead and slate this thriller in before we get into our spooky season because we have some more stuff coming up for you all. But let's talk about this movie. So on December 25th, it's going to release. We have a star-studded immaculate cast.
Ooh,
I'm going to talk about the first two leading ladies, which is going to be Amanda Seyfried, which millennials unite because that's our girl from Mean Girls. If we know, you know. We loved her in Mean Girls. She's been in so many other films. She was in Mamma Mia. I mean,
Dear
Amanda
John.
Seyfried. Oh, God. So many things.
I love Dear John.
And Ted 2, In Time. She was in Chloe. She was in, she's just been, Amanda Seyfried is like just, Michelle and I were talking about this before we started the episode about how unproblematic she is given like how long she's been in the game. And yeah, I mean, that's just what I think about when I think of Amanda Seyfried. She's just absolutely gorgeous. You know, she can sing, she can act. She's basically unproblematic. You've never really hear anything bad about Amanda Seyfried. So she's joining the cast. We have Miss Sydney Sweeney, who is going to be playing Millie. Sydney Sweeney is also super, super famous, very star-studded. You will know her from Euphoria, Anyone But You. She was in The White Lotus. She was in Sharp Objects, The Handmaid's Tale. She starred in all kinds of things. There's about a 10-year age gap between Amanda and Sydney, but I swear you would like never be able to tell. They both are just incredibly beautiful women. And it works really well. When you see the photos of them together, you're thinking, oh, do they like look enough alike to like, yes, they do.
Oh, they do.
Look a
They
lot
do,
alike.
side by
I didn't
side.
realize how much alike they actually look. Yes, they look a lot alike. So this film is going to be directed by, or actually was already directed by Paul Feig and written by Rebecca Sonnenschein. It wrapped filming already. So it wrapped in March 2025. So the whole production is actually wrapped and done. Tell us about our male actors, Michelle.
So we have Andrew being played by Brandon Sklenar, And you probably know him from It Ends With Us. And I love how these are two completely different roles that he has to play, because in It Ends With Us, he's the good guy. He's the one, the savior. Whereas him being Andrew is more,
Ugh.
he's awful. So I like how
He's a good looking guy, though.
Yeah, he is. And so I'm excited to see how dynamic he can be. And then he's been in some other big movies too, like 1923, Midway, and The Big Ugly. Those are some of his more recent ones. So very excited for him. And then we have Michelle Maroney, and he is going to play our Enzo. Michelle.
Yeah.
He is going to play our Enzo, which is our gardener. And he's really popular for the Netflix series, the 365-day franchise, which is very...
Where are dark romance girlies?
Yeah.
Dark romance girlies. Let's go.
So, and you know, that with his series being so big, I think obviously this is going to set up for the entire series coming to, I think it would set up for the entire series being multiple movies. That's what I would think.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
he would be
I think so
more
too.
used in book 2 and 3 as opposed to book 1.
Right.
He makes it he makes his debut, but definitely more in book 2 and 3. So yeah,
his character gets fully fleshed out. And like that's another thing. At the end of this book, we know that Millie gets kind of, because obviously Andrew dies and you're like, what's going to happen to Millie now that she like doesn't have a job? Well, she gets
Michelle
referred by
comes in.
Nora. And yeah, she gets referred and she ends up getting another job helping another wife. And this wife has signs of physical abuse right out of the way. She has bruises on her body that she shows to Millie and is like, hey, I think you might be able to help me with this. And she's like, I think I can help you. And that's kind of where that book ends. So it sets you up for these other books. You could still end the story there and kind of know that she does this kind of vigilante justice, like as a character, and be done. But I do like the idea that the books continue and you keep the story going. So no further spoilers on the rest of how the story goes.
No further spoilers. All right, so let's now...
I mean, for the other books.
Right,
Yeah.
for the other books. So let's get into our interview now. So we have our special interview with Besties in the Books. So stick around as we talk bookish things with Ashley and Liz.
Yeah, and so let's give a quick intro for Ashley and Liz because we're really glad that they joined us. They are two real-life besties who have loved books since they first learned to read. So naturally, they started a podcast. They have multiple book genres that they cover. They focus on fantasy, romantasy, and dark romance. They have a love for all book genres, but those are just their absolute favorites. Their podcast runs new episodes every Tuesday. They do some really cool stuff. They will do like Am I the Asshole blurbs. They like episodes about that. They've covered Spark of the Everflame. They cover a lot of controversies that are in the book world. They have a ACOTAR cookbook episode. They have all kinds of stuff. And it was really sweet of them to invite us on their show. And so we invited them to do an interview with them to kind of get to know them and just ask some fun, silly, bookish questions back and forth to get to know them a little bit. So Besties in the Books are joining us now. Stay tuned. In this episode, we're interviewing Ashley and Liz from Besties in the Books podcast. So whether you're reading along with us or just here for the book topic tonight, we are really glad that you're here and we're super excited to welcome them to our show. We can't wait to get started.
So excited to have you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we are just going to get into the icebreakers. So first one today is, what's the first book that comes to your mind as overhyped, underhyped in the book influencer space?
Ooh. Well, I'll go ahead and start us off. What's up, you guys? Hey. So, overhyped. Okay. I hope I'm in a safe space here, right? We all got our opinions.
Of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead with a book that I feel personally victimized by. Sorry, Shadow and Bone. By Leila Bardugo.
Okay.
Because all I'll say, without spoiling it for anybody, but Justice for the Darkling, man. It had all the bones. Everything was there. So I feel it's overhyped. I'm sorry. I said it.
Fair.
Okay.
So a book that I really think is overhyped, and again, as Ashley said, hope we're in a safe space here, is basically everything in the Empyrean series after Fourth Wing. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, Fourth Wing was a 5-star for me, and then Iron Flame was a 4-star, and Onyx Storm was a 3-star for me. So it just progressively has gotten less and less, and I feel like I don't understand the hype anymore. And as much as I want to be a part of it, I'm just struggling. So I don't know. That's where I'm at with it.
Okay, that's
Wow.
fair. That's fair. Honestly, Onyx Storm wasn't my favorite either. So
Yeah, it wasn't.
was a
Wasn't our
solid
favorite.
middle book. They basically
Yeah.
fucked
It
around on
achieved the
some
middle book
islands
formula.
and nothing moved in the plot. I'll be really, yeah. So that's a fair statement. You're safe.
Brutal.
Yeah, I'm
Brutal.
always like a little afraid to say that because I'm like, I don't know how people are going to respond to this, but I'm also like, I'm very open about always wanting to make sure that I'm honest on my reviews. And so that's my review. And I totally get it. Like with fantasy series, sometimes, it takes a while for things to kind of build up and it can be a little bit cumbersome in the middle. But I've read a lot of fantasy and it just isn't hitting for me.
Can I ask a follow-up question? So why do you feel like it got progressively worse? Like, is it the plot? Is it the characters? Is it like, what is it?
So I could definitively say that my issue is that I feel like we had so many like trails that just kind of went to nowhere or like trails of chaos. And like, I also feel like the characters kind of didn't evolve and more so like devolved. And that really drove me crazy. I was like, okay, so the characters don't seem to be growing. And I feel like we're ending up with all of these like wild, like, I don't even really know how to describe it. Like we're going on these wild goose chases to nowhere and I need to feel some type of closure at some point. And I just still feel like it's crazy. And I'm not getting like any of that satisfaction that I like to get. Even like little nuggets, you know what I mean?
Following up on the Empyrean question, Liz, I have another question for you. Of course I do. When you read Onyx Storm, we were like real pissed that there was no map and there was never like an update of the map. Is this triggering for you as well?
Really? Honestly, okay. So normally my answer to that would be yes, because I reference maps and indexes a lot in fantasy. Like I really appreciate it. So normally I would say yes, but I think that I was already so distraught by how chaotic everything was that I kind of was like, you know what I would do with a map? I would crinkle it up into a ball and I would throw it out the window anyway, because it can't be helped. So that's where I was with it.
Yeah, because how many fucking new characters did we get in that book? And you're like, who are these people? And we had just done a deep dive. So like the people who hadn't read the books.
There were a lot of new characters, and to be fair, it's from Violet's perspective, and she doesn't know jack shit about anyone besides like her little clique. So we're probably learning because she's learning. Because again, what is she? She's
I know
like 18, 19.
Just for the reader,
she's
young. Not a
young.
fun journey.
No, it was not. I was very frustrated. I was more frustrated with this book than I wanted to. So I think I think your opinion is probably more common than is stated just because it's something people aren't as wanting to be open about because of all the hate. And like, the Empyrean series has a lot of love to it. And how dare you have an opinion that's outside of theirs? So I'm pretty sure it's probably a little bit more common.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, it's not like I went into it with a negative mindset, not wanting to like it. Like, I'm not a naysayer about stuff like that. I'm like, if something's popular, I'm usually of the mind that it's popular for a reason, and that's awesome. And like, the more, the merrier. You know what I mean? Like, let's hop on the bandwagon together and have a good old time. So I really wanted to like it. So that's why I'm like, the fact that I didn't, I'm just going to tell the truth about it and be open about it. That I was disappointed because I wanted to join the party, and I feel like I can't.
That's fair. Ashley, do you have a similar opinion or?
Well, yeah, we have a few deep dives onto the aftermath of us reading these. Yeah, because we were so excited and so hyped. So Iron Flame was like going off the rails a little bit. We just felt like also there was a character shift. I'm speaking for both of us. Sorry, Liz. But like, I felt like Now, Violet seemed like a very strong FMC in the first book, and she just kind of became very, adolescent. Sure, maybe more her age, but there was just a lot of like petty drama, and it was the miscommunication and the like, you're keeping secrets from me, that started making us go, wait, what? And then, but we're like, okay. Oh, I like that. We actually liked the ending of Iron Flame. I won't spoil it for anybody that's reading it, but we actually liked that. Like, okay, this is going to be interesting then. Let's see how that goes. So then Onyx Storm was just kind of like, oh, they're back at school. So I feel Harry Pottery in that way.
Oh,
they're not. Yeah, exactly. So, it was a bit of a letdown, Will we read the next one?
Okay.
If it takes longer
You're
for her to
gonna
write,
read
we
it.
will. I know
Yeah.
we will. I know we will. We gotta know, but begrudgingly. No, we hope. We hope. Maybe we'll eat our words, in a couple years when all of the series is out. And I hope we do. And I hope we can go back and be like, okay, this was all for something. Prove us wrong. Please, Rebecca Yarros, prove us wrong.
Like all the Easter eggs were for something.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Exactly.
Fair.
Exactly.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like I said, I'm not a naysayer. I'm here to be proven wrong. Please prove me wrong. Please make it amazing. And yeah, like with what Ashley said too, it was like I had a really hard time with like this idea that they're supposed to be in like this full-blown like war rebellion situation, and they're like, but we got to go back to college, and also we have petty drama between like just students kind of. I couldn't get on board with that at all. So hey.
Okay. So our next question.
Underhyped. No, did we hit underhyped? We got to hit underhyped. This is
Underhyped.
critical.
We gotta leave on a positive note. Yeah, so in more positive news,
Right.
underhyped book for me that I want to shout out is The Shackled Serpent by K.M. Lister. So this is a fantasy that follows an FMC, and they're all very morally complex characters. And it's set in a fantastical world with fantastical beings versus kind of like the normie humans. And the world every year, like essentially it's almost like a reaping would be. So like the Hunger Games in that regard, once they come of age, because they have to go, the normie humans, and work for different realms. And each realm is like different type of magic. So you have a Fey realm, and then you have, I think of like, what's that guy, the superhero with the
Giving
red
Divergent.
guy with the horns? That's like a superhero guy.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Hellboy?
Yes.
Hellboy, yes.
Hellboy.
So it's like a realm of Hellboys.
No?
Like so they
Okay.
have to go and do this for like, I don't know if it's like 8 years or something. They're gonna be working in servitude for different realms. So, and it's kind of like they're put to a bunch of trials to figure out what their strong suits are, and they do like a bidding war on the different. And so it follows this girl's journey who's picked to work in the Fey realm. And I get chills thinking about it. It is so beautifully done, and I want everybody to read it. K.M. Lister is a self-published indie author, and the story will rip your heart to shreds. So if you like to feel something, and it's a one and done fantasy book, it's one book, it's not a part of a duology or a trilogy or anything like that. Such a good read. Shackled Serpent. Love it.
Wow.
Okay.
Shackled serpent.
Adding to TBR.
Please.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. I actually read Shackled Serpent originally as an ARC. So that's how we discovered it, and I love it too.
Mhm.
But the underhyped book that I was going to talk about, or underhyped series, is the Bridge Kingdom series by Danielle Jensen. And I feel like A Fate Inked in Blood and A Curse Carved in Bone gets a lot of attention, a lot of hype. And for some reason, Bridge Kingdom doesn't. And it is, I think, eventually going to be 6 books. Right now it's 5, but it's 3 sets of duologies. And I loved the first set. It was amazing. The second set was my favorite. So books 3 and 4 were so good. But yeah, I definitely think not enough people talk about it. And I absolutely adore it. It's one of my favorite fantasy series ever. So I don't know. Everyone should go out and pick it up if you haven't given it a try. I know sometimes book 1 can be a little bit slow for people, but I just say keep going, because I promise they get so good. And sometimes it can just be like that with book 1 in a fantasy series.
You know who else loved that series? Who we had on the show, Michelle? Valerie.
Oh, yeah.
She was
did.
like, haven't you read Bridge Kingdom? She was like a huge Bridge Kingdom fan. So now this is our second guest who is like, you need to go read Bridge Kingdom. So now it's like the cards have been dealt. We need to go read this series.
And that's
no
Valerie
other path.
Noda. That's at Valerie Noda.
Yes.
She's a bookstagrammer.
Yeah, she's a bookstagrammer. She's great. We've had her, and she's awesome. I'll have to steer you guys to her. But she's a huge Bridge Kingdom fan. She tells everybody, read it. And I've seen her talk about it, and I'm like, okay, I'll add it to the TBR. But you know, the TBR stack is like, listen.
Yeah.
And then I end up in the bookstore, and I'm like, why am I here? I don't need any more books. I have a lot of books, but yet I'm still there. I don't know how I end up in these places. These things just happen to me.
All right. Next question is rank your best and worst read this year.
It's a tough one. Ashley, hit us with it.
Okay, so rank best. So like three of each. Because I mean, we could spend all day. I mean,
Just one.
Oh, just
Yeah,
one.
what's your
and
best
one
read,
worst.
and then what's your worst
your
read?
best and worst?
Honestly,
Yeah, just one.
I read
What do you
Hunger
say?
Games for the first time this year, the whole series. So yes, all the Hunger
What?
Games. Yeah,
Wow.
I'm obsessed. Liz was telling me for years to read it, and
So
I
good.
completely judged a book
So
based on the movie. And I thought it was just like a teenage love triangle, and I didn't like pick up,
No.
a little watered down. Now that I know the backstory, it's it fills in the blanks. But oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed. I'm so a part of the Hunger Games fandom now. Went to the Sunrise on the Reaping
Yes.
midnight release party with my daughter. It was so much fun. So that would probably be my favorite. Asked me to pick one out of that group, probably the first Hunger Games, just because like obviously that stole my heart. Loved it. And then
Yeah.
Heard of it all.
I'm to anti-shadow to 50 Shades Darker, which we also read that series as a part of a mini series that we did, the 50 Shades series for the first time, because we read Twilight just like you guys just did. And so we wanted to find out what's the 50 Shades all about, if it's, supposed to be a bit of a fanfic for her Twilight. And the first 50 Shades book was very Twilighty, and then Darker, we're like, darker who, where, what's darker about this? I don't know. So probably one of the worst reads of the year, I'm going to say.
That's fair.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's so funny that you mentioned 50 Shades Darker because, yeah, you're right. Like, what was dark about it? We don't know. We're still wondering. We're still waiting around. Okay. So, my favorite read so far this year has been Goldfinch by Raven Kennedy. If you guys have not read Plated Prisoner series, that's another series that I feel like sometimes is underrated. I completely love it. I feel like, I read all of the books as they were coming out, so I had to wait in between. And this was the perfect conclusion to this amazing series. And I'm obsessed with it through and through. And as far as my worst read of the year, I feel kind of a little bit guilty saying this because I know a lot of people really enjoy it, but I have to call out Ice Planet Barbarians as my least favorite so far this year.
I love Danny, tell her how much you love Ice Planet Barbarians.
Wait.
Tell her how
Hold
much
on.
you love it.
There's a special place in the brain for Ice Planet Barbarians. Look, okay? You need to go into it understanding that this is not going to be a top tier read. I say that to everyone. This is a vibe read. You don't read Ice Planet Barbarians with like high expectations. You read it with, we're here for, blue dick. There's really no other way to say it. This is what
And
we're
the
here
nubby,
for. I was
the
trying to
nub.
figure out a way that was nicer
The
to
nub.
say that, and there just isn't a nicer way to say that.
Well, the reason why I didn't like it was actually completely like, I don't have anything against the storyline. I read a ton of romance, dark romance, monster romance. Like, yeah. And I rate them according to other books in the genre that they're in. I'm not going to rate Ice Planet Barbarians against Goldfinch, for example, like put them in the same category. That wouldn't make sense. The reason why I didn't like it was because I had an old published copy and then I listened to the audiobook, and nowhere in the audiobook or in the old published copy that I had picked up from my local bookstore were there any trigger warnings. And so I had no idea that going into it, there'd be a pretty graphic like sexual assault scene. And so I feel like people need to know, if you have an old copy or you're listening to the audio and it hasn't been added, that was a huge jump scare for me. And that's why I rated it low, because I kind of felt like I would have liked a little bit of a heads up.
Yeah, and that happens like pretty close to the beginning. So
That's a
I
major
agree.
fail.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I'd
I
rate
remember
it low
reading
for that
it
too.
being like, But I didn't. So I only read 1.5 books of that series, and I DNF'd it because it was very much the same. It was just vanilla and
Exactly.
the same person.
It is very vanilla. It's like
Yeah.
Monster, but it's like not. It's very, every single one of the relationships, aside from, I would actually venture to say like the first book has the most graphic thing. And then it kind of I mean, they're all, one gets kidnapped. Never mind. They all have things that are not okay going on. But the sex itself is incredibly vanilla, if I recall correctly, for most of it. It doesn't, there's nothing. Yeah.
It's like, I mean, like I said, I read a lot of dark romance. So, like, really, it takes a lot to, like, basically, I've never been triggered by a book, I don't think. Like, really. And so it's not necessarily that. It was more so just the fact that, like, you know, I put it on audio as I was, like, cleaning my book room because people had told me it's, like, a lighthearted, easy, just kind of like, you know, a book that I could, like, clean and, like, enjoy and not have to pay super close attention to. And so that's kind of how I went into it. And it was just like a huge jump scare. I was like, whoa, I did not expect this at all. I was wondering, or I was like hoping for just like a happy-go-lucky kind of time. And now my mood is completely different. And I didn't love that. So I was like, well, maybe it was me and I missed it, you know? So I even like rewinded it, double checked, wasn't anywhere. I went and got my paper copy, opened it, wasn't in there. And I was like, okay. I feel like that gets a low rating for me because of that. So
that's fair.
Yeah, that's really fair. Definitely.
Almost sounds like it was like the expectations were set differently from in general. And so when you're going into it, wanting something lighthearted and fun, and then it's like, oh crap, this is real heavy stuff. That is like whiplash.
Right.
Yeah. Your expectations.
You need to be prepared for it. If you're gonna getting that is the dark romance realm, you have to mentally prepare yourself for it. If you're not,
you're like, I'm gonna go pick up a dark romance. So that's
jarring. Okay, next question. If you had to live inside the world of the last book you read, how screwed are you?
So actually, speaking of monster romance, I'd be fine because I'm currently reading the Haven Ever After series. It's called, by Hazel Mack, and it is such a fun, silly, lighthearted, goofy time. It's kind of like Halloween Town for adults. It's spicy. It's basically the first one. I think there's like 8 novellas. They're not novellas. They're only like 250 pages though. And the first one, it's a group of triplets are, you know, following this magical map that they're like, either it was an aunt or some weird lady in a witchy shop gave them. And it leads on to Haven Ever After. And there's monsters, there's gargoyles, there's trolls, and there's fun stuff. And then you get like also a plot, some entity trying to take the town down. So the girls, you know, become a part of the town. And so it is super fun. So I'd be fine.
Oh, cool.
I'd have a great time living in my Halloween town and hanging out with the monsters and the pixies and all that.
I love that reference because like Halloween Town is such like an early 2000s like movie, like Disney Channel movie that, you know, it's just comforting. My daughter actually just started watching Halloween Town. I'm like, yes, all the nostalgia.
Yeah.
I love that so much. The Haven Ever After series is like one of my favorites too. So you got a way better fall Halloween themed location than I did. I'd be completely screwed. I'm currently reading Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. And I'd be haunted and brainwashed and who knows what else horrible. I'd have demons popping out to get me. It would not be a good time. So there's that.
Oh, no. Wrong. Yeah, wrong side of Halloween. You got the fun
I
side of
kind of love
Halloween.
this question, though. This was a good question.
It was.
I've enjoyed this.
It's a different type of Halloween taste for everybody, you know?
Liz and Ashley were really excited to have you on. I'm glad we did the icebreakers. Those were super fun. I think we are going to transition now to some like more podcast specific stuff because you guys are our first true podcast that we have had on our show. And I think it's exciting for us to be able to kind of share this commonality in the podcast space and kind of talk about how that has, you know, impacted you and kind of get a feel for your story. So first question, How has making the podcast changed your friendship? And I'll have Liz, you go first.
Yeah. So, when I was thinking about this question, I was like, how has it changed our friendship? Honestly, like, I feel like in the biggest way that it has changed our friendship, and just going back to the fact that, like, we literally have known each other since teenagers and have, like, been in each other's lives through literally everything since we were 14 years old, is the fact that now we talk every day. And like, to me, that is huge. Like, because before, we live approximately 600 or so-ish miles away from each other. And neither of us are big phone talkers. Like, we do not really like talking on the phone at all. So we would keep in touch. We would visit when we could. We really were good at making sure that we were present in each other's lives. But like now, it's just such an amazing thing to like know that like we're in each other's like daily life, like, and we're participating in like, it's not just like we're calling each other when some big life event happens. It's like we're literally talking to each other. Like, we have morning talks with Liz and Ashley where we voice memo each other. Just about like what's going on in our day that day, like while I'm on the way to work or whatever. And I just love that it's like a constant, that's what it is. It's just a constant presence in each other's lives all the time, which is like my favorite thing ever.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
I love
Yeah,
that.
that's literally
Michelle
what
and
I
can
was gonna
definitely
say.
relate there. We talk every day too. All right, Ashley, you got to say something else though. It's on you.
Yeah, I mean, like literally how we don't like to talk on the actual phone. It drives my husband crazy. He's like, oh, you boys why don't you call her? It's like, because we live like different lives and we can't always like pick up the phone and check. So we love voice memoing because we can listen at our leisure, but we are still, ever present in each other's lives. And it's made us, I want to say prioritize, but it's just at the forefront because we've always had that friendship that we could go weeks without talking because life is so busy, and just pick up where we left off. That's just always been how our friendship is. But this is nice because it's made us like, put it more at the forefront of our mind. And just because of doing the podcast, it's so natural, so easy. It doesn't feel like she lives 13 hours away anymore. It just feels like kind of like how we were in high school, just talking all the time. Honestly, you know what the voice memos are like for us specifically, or even texting, obviously, but we used to pass each other notes in class about like what we did in the class that each other wasn't in, and what new boy is new at school and are they cute, So now we're sending voice memos to each other. We kind of like got that somehow through podcasting. It like helped facilitate that.
I love that.
That's awesome.
I would completely agree. Also, I will say that, so I have a box in my garage full of our notes that we used to pass back and forth in high school. And so maybe someday we can release some of those. That would be a funny time.
That's
That'd
awesome.
be hysterical.
Yeah.
I'll definitely tune in for that. It's wild.
Oh, so embarrassing. I got them
All right,
too.
question. Oh, that's awesome. I used to have like a composition notebook. You'd pass a notebook around,
Ooh.
and instead of like doing individual ones, but then you had to like learn how to fold them too. That was a whole thing. I remember all that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is like the wildest part of being a podcast host that people might not ever think about, or like maybe you didn't think about until now you are one? What's something that didn't occur to you?
Oh, I just put here in my notes, it feels like I'm living a double life, and it does. And that to me is a crazy feeling that I've never really experienced before. Like, so I'm a small business owner. I've owned my own salon it'll be 10 years next year. And I have like a very consistent, solid clientele who's been seeing me a long time. I would say, like, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I'm like fairly known in my small community. And so I feel like that's like one persona that I have. And then like my online and like podcasting persona, like I'm the same person, but it's like two completely different, like I'm the beauty lady over here. And then like at night, I'm like the book podcast lady. You know what I mean? And so that can feel very like disorienting sometimes because, my clients will ask me like, oh, what did you, do with when your best friend came to visit? And I'm like, oh, we filmed a bunch of podcast episodes. And like, what? And it's like, they don't even know that that's like what I do when I'm not at work, So I feel like that's been a really like unique thing about doing this, and also kind of like a weird, like little kind of almost disorienting thing. But I will say, when I get a new client who comes in because they found me because of my book account or the podcast, that is like a top tier experience.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah. Relatable. When we do events and stuff too, it's like kind of out of body. It's very odd to have like your own listen to persona, which is still you.
Mhm.
And then like, well, I do laundry too. And I also am a mom. And it's a weird, it definitely is. I understand that, but that's awesome. And that's amazing on your salon. Congratulations. That's a huge achievement. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think for me, it's more so like, I'm like, how to say this. It's like going to work and like doing facials on people and being so like, serene and calm and professional. And then, I put professional in air quotes. And then like going on the podcast or on like my book account and talking about like monster dicks. You know what I mean? It's just like a very different vibe. And so it's always fun when I can like find those people where like my two worlds can like collide. I'm like, okay, you're a client who comes in and get facials, but you want to talk about like this dark romance or like whatever, So that's my favorite part, I think.
Yeah. It's a little bit too relatable. Yes. Heavy relate there. Ashley, what about you?
So something that just recently happened when I was visiting Liz was probably the wildest thing I've had happen. Before podcasting, and I still have it, it's just kind of on the back burner right now, I was in beauty on YouTube. So I actually switched my Instagram account from beauty to books because, the industry's changed a lot. So I kind of just do a little bit over there. So in all the years that I did that, I never had anybody in real life recognize me. So when I went to visit Liz, and we have a large following up near Liz's house, and so this was really cool, but it was just really like, whoa, a trippy moment, is we had someone that reached out to us that their husband saw us at the grocery store. So that was just like a whoa moment that, we don't know them personally. Liz is known personally, but they listened to us, and so much that their husband like recognized who we were. They didn't approach us, but, that was just like a, whoa, people can see me and I don't know it. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like they can recognize me and they can know I'm there, but I don't know that they know that we know that they know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they're super sweet, and
Yes.
that was a really cool but crazy moment. It was like, so that was the first time that was like, whoa, man.
It's weird because like you're on our show. Like other people are gonna see you. That logically. But then when it like happens and someone's like, hey, you're like, wait, oh yeah, people, I do that. I'm on a podcast. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, but it's not news to you. But why is it such a weird, the brain just doesn't connect them for some reason. I'm glad I'm not the only one who has also felt oddly about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's kind of
Feel
like
better
what
now.
Liz says, like that disorienting, like, two personas, even though we're the same person. It's just like, oh, I'm not filming right now. So I'm just out in the world, but I'm not filming myself out in the world. So it's like a weird brain like link that needs to connect. So a little disorienting, I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't consider myself like a public figure in any sort of like way. But then technically that's exactly what, yes, that is still true. It is odd, weird. Yes, it's weird.
Yeah.
I agree.
Trippy.
Okay, this question I've been really wanting to ask, and this is specific to you all's show. And from your Am I the Asshole segments, which one of these has been your favorite to cover? Because I love this Reddit community. I love reading these. It's really fun. I love the Am I the Asshole segments, and I just want to know which one is your favorite. So Liz, we'll take you first on this. Oh wait, one really quick backstory. On their show, they do segments on Am I the Asshole for preference. So everyone knows if you tune in to Besties in the Books, they do these really cool segments where they break down Am I the Assholes. Some of them have been bookish related, some are not. Some are holiday themed. They have a whole bunch of different versions of them. So go check these out. Then you'll know what I'm talking about. But now, Liz, hit us with your favorite that you guys have done.
I mean, my favorite by far, and probably Ashley's favorite too, I don't know, maybe not, but my favorite by far are the holiday episodes, specifically the Christmas and Thanksgiving episodes, because families are crazy, man. They're just There's always so much good drama. And like right here, my notes, it just says, there's nothing like underwear in a bowl. That's what I put. Because it's like, if you guys listen to our Am I the A-hole episodes, you know that like people have some weird holiday traditions. And yeah, that one was, I think, a Christmas one, but basically where you had to draw, it was basically like a draw straws for who got to eat first. So maybe it was Thanksgiving. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But whoever drew the like smallest underwear like got to eat first, and there was no clarification on if you had to like wear the underwear and take them off and put them in the bowl, or if they were like separate underwear that then you put in the bowl. But either way, that has to be probably one of my favorite standout Am I the A-hole episodes, just because when your family starts feeling weird to you, just go and listen to some of those and you'll realize your family's actually probably pretty normal.
Bowl underwear. Funny. Yeah, I never thought I'd hear that. Underwear for the bowl.
It's a first.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Intriguing. Were they the asshole? That was the real question.
Oh, it was like, I can't remember if it was like the fiance of someone or whatever, but I think they were voted not the a-hole for being like generally offended by this tradition that they were expected to participate in. I'm pretty sure they were a fiance because I think I made a comment about how they weren't yet legally bound to the family, so they still had time to get out.
I don't know. I'm legally bound to my in-laws. I'd say, fuck that. They're like, put your underwear in the bowl. It's like, I'll be having Christmas in my house. No, thank you.
All right, Ashley, tell us what yours was.
Yeah, I love the holidays. You know, we sprinkle in the Am I the A-holes throughout the year, just kind of like as a, you know, you don't need to do homework. You don't need to read. You're just vibing with us. We'll have some bookish related stuff like you mentioned in there. But the holiday ones, you know, we'll surprise each other with wigs for Halloween. So we've kind of made it a tradition now. So we will be having those this holiday season. And then I order surprise hats for Christmas and Thanksgiving. I dropped the ball on 4th of July because I had something special I forgot to order. But next year, we'll get them. So the one that sticks out to me specifically is this last 4th of July one / hot dog themes because, you know, hot dogs and 4th of July was the, you know, there's a guy who's asking if he's the a-hole for, you know, winning the hot dog eating contest against his girlfriend's dad. That it's now Liz gets hot dog related content on her algorithm all the time. It's just become a monster. So that's what we love about Am I the A-hole is as a community, everybody's having so much fun because it's not your drama. We're just spectators of it. And it's just silly and it's funny. And a lot of, you know, kind of inside jokes for the community come out from it. And we just have such a good time.
That's a good one. Was he? I want to know. I don't feel like he was
that one, Liz.
Right?
Yeah, he wasn't the a-hole, I think.
No, that's his father-in-law's fault for not swallowing the glizzies faster enough. So
pretty much what the conclusion was. It was like a whole thing where basically like we got a couple comments that were like the title of that episode should actually be like quote unquote are men okay? Because it was like, why is your dad upset that like the new boyfriend is beating you at this like, you know, stupid hot dog eating contest? Like it's okay to just like be chill about it. You know, like it doesn't actually make you like manlier to be able to eat like 50 hot dogs in a row. So yeah, they definitely like voted them not the a-hole for sure.
Also, like, what a weird thing
to be in that argument.
Also,
I just a fly in the wall in that argument and the amount of dick jokes you could make as they're just talking
too
about
many.
Swallowing.
So good,
right?
I can't. My mind's
too
already
easy.
spinning.
Yeah.
Are we at our dick word saying quota for this episode? I feel like we've like reached peak.
The limit does not exist.
The
limit does not exist.
I don't know. I think that guy did like 18 or something. We have a few more to go.
Okay. Okay, so you kind of answered this a little bit, but I'd be curious when like one of you has like a crazy harebrained idea or just like new ideas for the show. How do you guys go about that? Like, what's your process? How does it make it into the show? What's your process with that? I'd be curious to know.
Oh, I'm laughing because literally the other night I was having a quote unquote after dark moment. And I literally, okay, so first of all, our brain externally is run by about 8,000 Google Docs. Like we have a Google Doc for everything, okay? So like every single like thing that you can think of. It's like take our brains on a computer and it's Google Docs. Okay, well, I was having an after dark moment and I couldn't figure out the Google Doc situation. I couldn't find the one that I wanted. And so I gave up and I just texted Ashley, Nicholas Sparks. Like, that's it. And she's like, what the heck? She's like, what is this? What do you mean? And I was like, I can't find the Google Doc to put it in ideas. So here you go so that I don't forget it. And basically the next day I like pop back in. I'm like, okay, I'm okay now. I think that we should read a Nicholas Sparks book because I've never read one before. And I think that it'd be fun to cover that in one of the movies. And so that is, in a nutshell, how we document and come up with episode ideas.
Not a single Nicholas
Notebook.
Sparks. Dear John.
What are we doing?
Channing Tatum and Amanda Seyfried. Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Ugh. Channing
Goodbye.
Tatum. He
We've
was
got
just
oh my
2000s hottie.
was. What do you mean? What?
Well, he was iconic in the early 2000s. Now he's a little bit older.
Speak for yourself, my lady. Okay, relax. Channing didn't do
Oh,
no
you
wrong
relax.
to anyone. There's no relaxing here. He does no wrong. Is he Henry Cavill? No, but we will still take him. We will take him. We still like him. And that's speaking purely from an acting perspective.
I was like looking for something to watch. And so I scrolled past I think it was A Walk to Remember or something like that. And I remember I had like a recovered memory. Oh my gosh, I was obsessed with that movie in high school or whatever. And I used to watch it over and over again. And I was like, we have to read one of his books. And that's how it came to be. But I feel like, I don't know, Ashley, do you have any other like insight into how we quote unquote put it in the book?
We do just that. We say, put it in the book, just like Mean Girls. So we have a lot of pop culture references, as millennials do, and we love it. So it's like that, the TikTok things that pop in your brain all the time, the sayings, like, do it, lady. So we have the Google Docs that we use, and sometimes you need to phone a friend if you can't access it because you're otherwise impaired. Did I add it to the list? I don't know. Sorry. Because she did leave me on. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And then she went to sleep. And I was like, great, I have nothing. So yeah, just bouncing ideas off each other. We have a list, and then we have, I would say at this point, every 6 months, we do our schedule out for the next 6 months. So when I was just at her house, we scheduled out up until December. Because obviously you guys know time is so busy that if we don't schedule it out, it would be chaos. So, and we can pre-film sometimes, so that kind of helps when we go on vacation and things. So anything that we schedule, we'll have backup plans in case, a book release comes out or just a funny idea comes in that we want to substitute. That's our life is in Google Docs. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Danny
I'm
just
definitely the
calls
chaotic
me
one.
randomly. Like, I have this idea. I'm like, okay, let me pull up another note on my phone. And she'll just like brain
Yeah, we
dumps.
have a notes that share.
Yeah.
Like
She
on
just-
the app, the Notes app on Apple. It's a problem
Yes.
for
or
Michelle
she'll just
mostly because I have to. I just tell her.
She was
I'll
like,
be
I
like,
was just in the
Michelle, I have a
shower
study.
and hear me out. Like, okay, let me just stop everything I'm doing, Danny.
Some of the best ideas come to you in the shower. It's not my fault that this happens.
No.
We're driving. The number of ideas I've had while driving, just
Many.
what am I
Most
to
of
do?
them. Okay, so next
Okay.
question is, how do you balance your podcast life and your personal life? Where do you struggle most?
Okay, I can take this one first. I just put here in my notes, not well, and that's it. Literally, though, I feel like personal question, like, I don't know. I feel like between, owning and running a business full time and then doing podcasting, I kind of just have to, it's like time management. I don't even know what that is. I basically just have to use every free moment that I have to get things done. And, luckily, like what I put here after my sarcastic moment to myself, I put constant communication. I would not be able to do any of this if Ashley and I weren't both incredibly good at consistently communicating with each other, even if like the communication is just like an SOS, I'm having a meltdown, like freak out moment. Like at least we're always like on the same page about what's going on. And I think just having, we're both really good about being understanding that we do have lives outside of podcasting too. And sometimes things come up. So it's like, I feel like Ashley's really good at like calming me down when I'm freaking out, when I'm like, okay, like, I had clients run an hour late tonight. I have, family coming into town early. My house is in chaos. And she's like, dude, chill. It's not a big deal. Like, it'll get done when it gets done. It's not, don't worry about it. And then I try to be that same way for her. And I feel like that's literally like the only way that any type of quote unquote balance even is able to exist.
Yeah, heavy relate. All right, Ashley, you tell us. Curious.
Pre-film, pre-edit as much as possible. That's the only way we can stay consistent. So we usually will carve out a few hours every Monday to at least try to film 2 episodes a day, because we have either life come up or vacations that are planned. And if we didn't do that, we would not be able to get weekly episodes out. And then as far as like content, that we do to support the podcast, Instagram and stuff, we have like a flow that we do. And that helps us where, for instance, today we didn't get a post out for 5 o'clock. We are flexible. We can get it out in the morning because we just know we found a good flow for us that we can delay things if life comes up. So that's how we've been able to balance things as best as we can, because it's, with consistency is everything when it comes to building a community. So yeah, I think that's been working enough.
Yeah, we hear that. Definitely.
Totally understand.
It's a lot. Yeah, we do. We do. We totally understand. All right, let's switch to something a little bit more fun. We're going to switch from the heavy into some spicier questions, because we are a book club after dark, after all. So we've got to ask you, what is the spiciest book that you've ever read? Like, make you blush type situation. What are we talking about here? Did you finish it in one sitting? Did you recommend it? What are our thoughts, feelings? What's the spiciest?
So the spiciest book, this was really hard for me because I really like reading dark romance. So I feel like a lot of the books I read are spicy. So I was like, I don't even know really how to pick. But in the recent past, I'd say the spiciest book, I'm going to say books because it is a duology that I've read, is Shades of Ruin and Shades of Red by Willow Prescott. And the first book, now I'm getting confused. Shades of Red, I think, is the first one, was actually recommended to me as part of that like 12 books, 12 months, 12 friends challenge, where you have a friend recommend one book that you read per month and you just like go into it blind. And so I read it not knowing anything about it whatsoever. And it's basically like the best way I can describe it. And I try to shout it out as much as possible because Willow Prescott is amazing indie author and you need to go read her. Is like if the show The Bear about, the chef, and the show You about the serial killer, like, made a baby. Like, that's what this book would be about. Deranged chef with some homicidal tendencies and then tons of spice. So I would say in the recent past, those are my spiciest reads. And they're both quite short. I want to say the first book's probably around 200 pages. The second one's probably around maybe 250 or so. So I read each one in one sitting for sure and loved them. But I'm curious to see or hear Ashley's response because she definitely doesn't read as much romance as I do.
All right. What's the spiciest?
Yeah. So Liz is my spice girl, as I call her. So I'm not as spicy. However, I thoroughly enjoyed, and it was by far the spiciest book I've ever read. It's called Kiss of the Basilisk, aka Split or Swallow by Lindsay Straube. What a fun time for all. It's a little unhinged,
Yes.
A lot of unhinged, but
Very.
there are some feminist themes woven throughout and a lot of female empowerment that we fully enjoyed. And we cannot wait to read Between Two Kings, which is the second book.
Agree.
Okay.
Did you like it?
I've been
Did
telling
you
Michelle
read
to
it?
read that one.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I haven't
Yeah.
read it yet.
Buckle up.
It's on
Yeah.
my TBR.
Put on your
And I've
seatbelt.
heard some good things about that book. So I definitely want to. The TBR list is forever long.
Yeah. I definitely recommend anybody
Yeah,
who wants
that
to
one-
read it out there, open mind. Just let it happen.
Yes.
It's
That's essential.
It's unusual, but just let it
Read your
just let it
triggers.
go.
Happen.
Yeah.
There's a shit ton of
Yeah.
triggers at the beginning of that book. Please read them. Read them all. then read them again and make
Yeah.
sure we're okay. And then onward and upward you go.
Liz, do I get your approval on that spiciness?
Yeah, I mean, I love Kiss of the Basilisk so much. And so, for anyone who's been following Lindsay over at Oxford Lemon for a while, she did Serpent Summer, which was last summer. And so, Ashley and I happened to be on a cruise together and decided to read, it was Split or Swallow back then, decided to read it as our buddy read on the cruise. And so, yeah, I always tell people, you know, it's like, yeah, if you check the trigger warnings list, it sounds like something good to you that you want to read. Because sometimes people, I think, can get a little intimidated by a romance book that's that long, because it's actually quite long. I want to say it's like over 500 pages, but it just, I mean, when I tell you, I read the majority of that book. So my husband likes to gamble on cruises. And so he'd be like literally playing cards. And I don't gamble. So I would just be standing behind him, just reading that bad boy on my phone the whole cruise long. And it's like, you don't have to have hyper focus. Like, you don't have to, yeah, like, it's not like you need to be tuned in the same way that you would for like a high fantasy or something like that. But there are really interesting themes and yeah, there's some good world building in fantasy too, but it's just like constant spice. So if that's what you're looking for, I'd say go for it. I love that book too. Definitely recommend.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I recommend it too. I told Michelle already. Let's go.
Yeah.
But it's also
Trying.
on our giant list. Our giant list, yes. Okay. In terms of romance genres, Ashley, I know you said you don't really read them, but you could add in tropes if you'd like, if you want to switch it up. But what is your favorite romance genre and why?
I mean, romantasy I love. So it's just like spicy, I could care less, honestly. I know. But
That counts.
yeah, so fantasy romance would be my favorite, but it's because I love fantasy so much. I
Okay.
like the romance. So I'm picking tropes that I like or genres. Sorry.
No, romantasy works.
Yeah.
That covers the
romantasy.
base.
Yeah.
That's a romance genre.
Yeah. And monster
good.
romance is super fun.
I like
so I love it too. If it's like contemporary, it's not really for me right now in this point in my life, but I'm open to it in the future.
Okay.
I would say this is like such a hard question for me because I love romantasy as well because I'm a huge fantasy person and there's nothing better than fantasy with romance in it. You know what I mean? But I also love dark romance, like with a passion that I feel like there's just something about dark romance, especially if you have experienced trauma, that I feel like can really help people process a lot of that, including myself. And so I appreciate dark romance in a kind of different way that I feel like romantasy doesn't necessarily resonate the same way. So that's why I have a hard time choosing between the two, because romantasy is like a nice escape. And I feel like lots of times, yes, we can relate to the characters, but it's a little bit different. I feel like with dark romance, it's contemporary. Lots of times, people are dealing with a lot of, like I said before, kind of like psychologically dark themes, some triggering elements that maybe a lot of us have experienced in real life. And so it can really be liberating to be represented in that way. And I feel like before I started reading dark romance, I didn't even know that there was really any books that talked about some of the things that a lot of us have been through. So I think that they both have it's like apples and oranges to me, but yet kind of the same. So I have to say that they're tied in my book.
Okay, that's fair. Michelle, I never actually asked you that question. What's your favorite romance genre, Michelle?
I mean, if we're speaking strictly romance, I would always read a romantasy, but I actually do enjoy dark romance. But
Same.
So I enjoy dark romance with a contingency. I get on and this is why trigger warnings are so important. I enjoy dark romance when the romance itself is not the dark aspect, meaning like I know stalker romances are a big thing, and like if there's a question of consent, that's when I draw the line. If there's ever a question of consent, I can't stomach it. Like, I'm just thinking like Butcher and Blackbird. What if you read that series, the Ruinous Love Trilogy? It's the romance itself is pretty like not normal, but it's not triggering. Yeah, it's consensual, but everything else going on around them is dark as shit. So I like the horror aspect, but not when it comes to like the actual romance consensual part of it. That's where I'm just like, that's where I draw the line. So about you, Danny?
Yeah. Well, I'm in the middle of the Lord series, so if you know anything about that, they're getting a laugh out of Liz, so I think she does. It's you would not like that, especially book 2. I'll say that.
Okay.
Book 1 you might be okay with. Book 2, I think, would be a probably hard pass for you because there's a lot in there. But I agree with Liz. I feel like if you have been through or seen a lot of dark things, it is a way to process in a safe space. It's also a way to, if you've never been through any of those things, I'm not going to say this is healthy because oftentimes it is not, but it is a way to have exposure. So in a safe, healthy way in your house or on the subway, wherever you're reading these, do your thing. But it's definitely a different way to experience something that doesn't objectify anyone. And it's on a written page. It's a format that is a safe space to kind of explore something that, isn't really typically available in any other media that I can think of that is so easily to consume that way. That's the safest. You close the book if you don't like it. You move on really quickly. There's no other attachments that you can kind of make there. But I enjoy dark romance too. And I think that contemporary has its place. For me, it's hit or miss. I don't dislike it. It's just not my first pick. It's almost never my first pick. I will always pick a romantasy or a dark romance before I'll pick a contemporary. And that's just me as a reader. I'll also pick a fantasy or a historical fiction before I'll probably pick a contemporary romance book. Or even a we talked about dystopian books, Hunger Games. I'd probably pick that before I'd pick a contemporary. That doesn't mean to say that I wouldn't, because one of my 5-star reads that really surprised me this year was Deep End. And that's definitely a contemporary romance. And I loved that. That was an amazing, amazing Ellie Hazelwood book for me. That was a 5-star that I did not see coming at all. So there's a special place, I guess, for all the genres and kind of mood reading of where you want to fit in with that. But let's move on to something more fun. We're going to switch gears and play a little classic Fuck, Marry, Kill. So we picked 3 fictional characters from books that we know that you guys have covered. And Michelle, can you let them know what they're going to be choosing here?
So you have to either fuck, marry, or kill one of these 3. And these are all ACOTAR themed. So ACOTAR world. The Surreal, the Bone Carver, or the Weaver.
We
Liz, why don't you go first?
Back.
I feel like Ashley and I have done one similar to this before. Okay, so I know for me that I am going to fuck the Weaver because I saw some great fan art of her, okay? And she is hot AF. So it is what it is. So I will die on that hill. So Weaver, fuck the Weaver, and then marry the Surreal for sure. And then kill the Bone Carver, I think. I don't know. He kind of creeps me out a little bit too much, I think. But I mean, that's a hard choice, honestly, at the end of the day. But I think that's what I'm locking it in as. Ashley, what about you?
All right.
Okay, let's lay a ground rule. The Bone Carver presents as who you want it to present as, right? Or not?
I mean,
or something. He manifests as something specifically that he thinks is what is he going to manifest as? So for that reason, I'm out. Kill. Because I don't know. What if he manifests as something horrible? I don't know. But the Weaver, too super freaks me out. So I'll just fuck her and get it over with. Because I'm marrying the Surreal. He's my favorite. They're my favorite. Love them to
your boy just wants tea time.
Oh, yeah. Let's hang out and gossip. I love it. Oh, I'll eat it up. So I guess we have the same.
The Surreal's just misunderstood.
I love
He
the
just
Surreal.
wants to spill the tea. That's all he wants.
He just wants a cloak and some tea, and a chicken. I can offer that. I could be the provider for the Surreal.
Just give me all the tea. That's funny.
What about you guys?
Okay, so another question. Okay.
Oh, Michelle, you go.
I would also marry the Surreal for the same exact reason because he's
stability.
Doesn't want anything else. It's fine. I would the Weaver, just that whole scene with the hair, and it reminded me of some creepy childhood story. I don't even know what it locked in my or unlocked in my brain, but it was just so creepy with the hair and the nails and then just that whole thing. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna kill her, and I'm gonna hope the Bone Carver presents as something good. And if not,
I'm actually gonna do the exact same thing because the Weaver legitimately my visual, so I don't know if you guys, when you read, like, can see your books. I'm hoping you can.
Yeah.
Like, I can, like, see what's written on the page. There's, like, I guess there's, like, 50% of people who read, or 60% that, like, don't see anything.
They see the words.
They just see, like, the words on the page. And I'm like, well, if that were me, I don't know if I would even love reading. Because honestly, like, I, like, go off to another place. I'm somewhere else. I'm gone on a journey, you know? I saw the Weaver, and she is not hot. I don't know what. Oh, you're gonna.
She's
show
like,
us.
let me pull it up.
Yeah, Exhibit
Yes.
A is coming in hot.
Change my mind.
Is that?
Oh,
I don't know. It's giving Grudge. So, and that was like my first horror movie growing up is The Grudge. I'm like, nope, with the hair. Nope.
maybe The Ring. I was getting The Ring vibes too.
Mhm.
Throwing it further back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not translating through the screens, but like, I don't know. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just like a sucker for like a fucking goth girl. You know what I mean? I don't know. But like, I'm telling you, she is hot. So I like I said, I'm dying on this hill. I will not apologize.
We're here for it. Hey, we asked the question. It's our fault anyway. Like, we brought you down this road, so we're on the journey together. Okay. What is a book scene? It doesn't have to be spicy, either whatever scene you want, that you would happily like reenact, I guess, with a significant other, or however you want to frame this question. We'll let you kind of loosely interpret this how you'd like. We'll start with you, Ashley.
I want to say something cool, like riding a dragon or a dragon picking me, but like, I know that I'm gonna like pass out from the heights and freak out. I can't go that. It's not that I have a fear of heights. It's that I don't like heights and I'm scared of them. No, I just freak out and, so I want to say something like that. So I'm going to call me basic. I don't know. Go with that chapter everybody loves in Mist and Fury. Chapter 54 or something like that. Go with that one.
55?
55. Yeah. Good soup. Let's go with that one.
Okay.
That's so funny. That is not what I expected you to say at all. That's so funny. I feel like we did a weird switchy thing right now. So I picked that I would want to jump into Frost and Starlight and spend winter solstice with the inner circle. That's what I put because I thought it just be so sweet and lovely. And so that's what I picked.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a good one.
That is.
That is a fun. This is a little ACOTAR themed episode here that we got going on. I feel like it inadvertently has just.
I immediately went to Silver Flames and put your hands on the headboard, but
Oh, hey.
That's
Get it. Do it, lady.
You're like, here's something sweet. Just have some fun.
Everyone thinks it's book club after dark because of me, but it's really because of Michelle. Now you all know. You know the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's yours, Danny?
I'm just the in with one bed situation over here. It's not my fault. It is not my fault. So there's a specific one there's one in Lights Out. We won't get into that too much. But there's
Which
one?
Wait.
In
No. 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 You can't say which. They're the knife scene?
No, just relax.
Listen,
there's
I
one
know.
in the.
I told you, Mom.
There's a specific scene in Plated Prisoner, actually. That for me, I'm changing it because this is the legit choice. This is the real one. First of all, if you haven't read Raven Kennedy's spice scenes in her romantices, they're quite literally god tier. Okay, they're phenomenal. I haven't read any other romantic series that touches her scenes, and it could just be because I love these two main characters so much. But I read this series, and I'm not gonna hate on SJM because hers are great too. But when I read Raven Kennedy, there's a scene specifically with two. I don't want to give spoilers. There's two main characters that have a moment in a carriage, and if you know, you know. And I will leave it at that. They have a very good time in a carriage, and that is one that I know, Liz, that you love Plated Prisoners, so you will know what I'm talking about. Michelle has not read this yet. I've been trying to convince her. Hopefully this will be icing on the cake.
I often, when I'm talking about like the best written spice in romantasy, will most of the time mention Slade. I feel like there's just no MMC who does it better. So, hey, there we are. And yes, the carriage scene is iconic. I don't know that it's my favorite spicy scene in that series, but it's literally it's up there with the hands on the headboard scene for sure. And I'm a huge, like, out of all the MMCs from SJM, Cassian is my fave, one of my faves. So yeah.
Listen, I just need Azriel. His wingspan's the biggest. I need to know. And she has said that he is the freakiest of all of them. This is what I need. I need to know how big the wingspan is. That's what I'm looking forward to in ACO 6.
Y'all thought After Dark was because of me. Now we know. I was going to say, Liz, so that scene is probably not my favorite of their story, but of like what I loved about that scene for those two characters was like his encouragement of her and how he's there for her. And that I think is like the critical part of why we talk about spice and what we love about romantasy and what we love about some of these things is like women writing about men in these books in a way that's all consensual and that considers the woman. It's just such a different vibe. And that scene in particular, while very graphic and open door, the dialogue that they're having is like one of the biggest reasons I love that scene. It's actually less about what's happening physically. That's a key part of it. But the dialogue that they have, that these characters have, and that Raven Kennedy writes these characters as, what makes that open door scene driving the plot and important to the story. It's not just about that. That's not the only key driver. So I encourage you all, again, please go read Plated Prisoners. If you have not read that series, it was definitely my 5-star series read for this year was Plated Prisoners by far. It was my favorite so far. Thank you, Liz and Ashley, so much for being our first podcast to come on the podcast. We've loved having you both here. It was super fun. I really enjoyed the dynamic of being able to talk kind of about podcast life. That's something we haven't been able to share kind of on the show. And so I think that was a really different thing to add in. It was obviously super fun talking books. We could do that forever. So we loved having you both here and getting to know you. Thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight.
Yes, thank you guys so much for having us. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and hang out and let us be on your podcast. And I hope everybody comes and watches where you guys come on our podcast. So that was so much fun too. And we definitely need to do this again sometime.
And make sure, if you haven't already, to follow Besties and the Books on Instagram. You guys have TikTok, YouTube, all those things. Just they're awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming onto our show.
Just loved being here. And yeah, it was so nice to be able to talk to other podcasters because we haven't done this before either. So, hey, look at that. New things all around.
Thank you so much again, Ashley and Liz, for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. We had so much fun talking all things bookish with you.
Yeah, make sure to give them a follow at Besties and the Books podcast. Give them a follow. You can listen to their show and tune in now. So thank you, ladies, again for joining us. And Michelle, I think that leads us nicely into our wrap up of this episode and our mystery Q&A. All right, we're getting into the fall season. I want you to name me only three items that make you think of fall. These can be like food items like that you're nostalgic of, like things that you enjoy during this season that are like you like specifically.
Okay. So I wouldn't necessarily think like nostalgia because fall actually wasn't like a big thing celebrated in my family at all. But when I think of fall, obviously it's pumpkin. That's like, we've already been making all the pumpkin things. I made pumpkin cinnamon rolls over the weekend. We've made pumpkin bread. We've made pumpkin. Yeah, already. Just because it's something fun to do. My daughter likes helping. And yeah, treats.
Not to like.
So definitely pumpkin is.
Girl, you better send me that pumpkin cinnamon roll recipe.
I will. I actually need to tweak it a little bit because I kind of messed up a little bit. And then you can have a dairy-free option with because I put cream cheese icing on top.
I know how to sub all of that.
So yeah.
That's fine.
And sunflowers. I love sunflowers. We are very fortunate in Orlando to be really close to a farm, Southern Hill Farms, who has all the festivals. They have their fall festival with their pumpkins, and they have this huge sunflower field. You can take the most Instagrammable pictures ever. And we've been there during their spring festival too, and they're awesome. So sunflowers
You've
for
expanded so much.
They
Yeah,
have.
over the years, we've gotten to watch them expand like so much. It's been really cool to watch, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it has. Every time we
Okay,
go,
so
it's like,
you
oh, that's
had-
something new.
You had sunflowers,
And
cinnamon,
pumpkins.
like, or pumpkin baking.
Yeah, I'd say
Okay.
pumpkin baking. And I would say coffee, but like the smell of it makes me nauseous. So I can't usually I'm a like PSL girly. Like I'm like the first to get
okay.
PSL, pumpkin spice lattes. But I'm still hesitant with the smell. I don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but usually it would be pumpkin spice, like iced coffee.
Maybe they can do like
lattes.
some kind of like a pumpkin frap or something, but without the coffee,
But that's
you know? Like a pumpkin vanilla or something.
I feel like
frap?
I just
don't know, I'm
need to
trying
like
here.
pinch my nose and then just drink it.
Oh, those
So I don't
pregnancy
spell
feels.
it. Oh, it's awful. It's awful. Okay, so that's 2. You said come up with 3 or is
No,
2?
that was 3. That was
Oh,
3. Because
okay,
you
that
did
was
the
3.
baking,
Okay.
the Southern Hill Farms sunflowers, and the PSL that you can't have. Okay,
All right, what are your 3?
fair enough. So we decorate. Like I love getting all my fall decorations down.
Mhm.
You know, that's like our family tradition. So like that's one of my favorite. I know you decorate too, but that was like the first thing I thought of was like the big thing that I love is like the coziness of like getting all the fall shit out.
Mhm.
And I know that sounds super cozy. I say it like that.
The fall
but I mean
shit.
it. Like when I get all the fall shit out of the attic, I'm like,
Mhm.
it is officially fall. We're in the burr months. That's like the thing that's going viral right now. Everyone's calling them the burr months. So that's the first one that I thought of. And then the second one would be, I'm like really bummed about this, but Starbucks removed their like apple cider flavors. They usually have apple in the
yeah.
fall. And like this
They have
year they didn't
pecan,
release
right?
anything with apple. Now they have pecan. Yeah, what is that trash? I mean, it's still good, but it's not trash. But I was upset because like, how does that replace apple? But whatever.
Right.
But like our local coffee shops like Foxtail and stuff, they still have apple. So, you know, I'll be bringing my business. I like to bring my business locally anyway, but I was still upset that Starbucks didn't have apple this year.
Bring it back.
So that was upsetting. But like I also like to make sure when we started Book Club After Dark too, I made a few apple cider adult beverages and I like apple cider a lot. I like to make different drinks with it. I think it's really versatile. So that's number 2. So then 3 would probably be I guess like the movies. Like we're watching Wednesday on Netflix right now and I'm loving all the like
fun.
haunted feels. Yeah. And so like Wednesday in general is like nostalgic because Adam's Family, you know, is just like OG. You got Christina Ricci's in it. And so like getting to see her play in the show now, you know, as an adult teacher at the school that Wednesday's at and like watching Wednesday is like, it's giving fall vibes. I'm here for it. And, you know, Wednesday's trying to solve some crimes. And so that's been fun to watch. But I like all the fall stuff that kind of starts to come out. I think like we have some Stranger Things going on.
Finally.
Obviously, well, and like Orlando in general, I think is just really big into fall, which you wouldn't think. Like if you're listening to this and you haven't been to Orlando for fall, you'd be like, why would Orlando, Florida have anything for fall?
Because we don't have actual fall. So we have to fabricate it.
So we have a lot. Yes. So we have like a bunch of farms you can go to. Is it hot as shit? Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
it is.
it is.
Am I still wearing
We
my
look
flannel?
past that.
Yes, I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah, around my waist, tied appropriately, so I'm not gonna die. But yeah, I mean, we do have fall here. We really do. We have Halloween Horror Nights. We have like all these different
Which
trick or
seems
treaters events,
wild.
Legoland, SeaWorld. Huh?
The Halloween
Yeah.
Horror Nights this year seems wild. I'm actually kind of mad.
It
Like,
does.
honestly,
Yeah, I'm
like,
excited.
my husband
I'm
wants to
excited.
go, and he's like, "No, this year's probably not a good year." I'm like, yeah, I might go into like labor if we go to Halloween Horror Nights. Just scare the baby.
Yeah, well, because
right
we
out.
talked about this on the last episode. Jeez, yeah, because you're like gonna run from the clowns.
Yeah, no,
like, what?
it would be awful. And then Art the Clown's just roaming around, terrorizing everyone.
Well, no, so
No one's
actually
safe
this
anymore.
year, I don't know. Well, I don't know if you saw, like this year they're actually giving out for those
the
who
necklaces. Yeah.
have like, yeah. Oh, you saw this. Okay.
Mhm.
So now they're giving out these like red necklaces that are like, hey, I don't want to be scared in scare zones. And like a lot of people were talking shit about this online. And I'm like, clearly, like you are so privileged that you have like no medical history to where you don't understand the benefit that this gives people who are pregnant. Perfect example. any other respiratory or heart conditions, things like that, where, they want to participate too, but they don't want you to
I don't want to die on the way to
impact
the
a
house.
trip to the hospital. Like,
Yeah.
we don't literally want to go to the hospital. Like, this is supposed to be fun. So it's nice now that this is the first year that they're rolling it out. So I'm curious to see like how it works. And so anyway,
So the necklace also, it's fairly inexpensive too. I mean, $20 is, $20, your health, I think is a good trade-off.
worth it.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's called the Deathly Afraid necklace.
Mm-hmm.
So it prevents scare actors from targeting you specifically. So
Which I feel like
I
the
mean,
scare
that could
actors
work. You
get
can
me
still have a good
worse
time.
in the scare zones than the houses anyways. That's just me. I'm a runner, so I'm a target. It's fine. And then like if I were to go now,
I
I'd be the
usually hide behind my
waddler.
husband. Yeah, well, I usually hide behind my husband in the houses. I'm like, you go first. No, I'm good. You go ahead. And I literally I push him in front of me and get as close to his back as possible.
No, my
And
husband
I'm
won't
like,
let me hide.
okay, we're out. And I just like look at the ceiling. I'm like, oh, look what they did up there.
Yeah, I
Okay.
I see where they're supposed to come out and I look to the side of it. Like, I'm not going to look directly at you. I can see you there in my peripherals. And
And
does it
that's
still
enough.
scare me? Yes. Yes, it does. Do I enjoy this? Surprisingly, yes. Yes, I do. So,
No,
okay.
like, why do I want to keep going back? What does this say about me? I don't know.
It's a good time getting the shit scared out of you. It's fine. It's all fine.
Mhm.
Okay, so my question is going to be less fall-like because we're just starting the Burr month. So I want to keep, let's...
Yeah, keep your fall questions.
Yeah, we'll keep our fall questions. Okay,
I
so
was
what
just
is-
excited. you
Yeah.
know?
What is something like super random that's happened to you out in public? Can be anything.
So one time, this is when my husband and I were dating. So years ago, we lived in California. And I remember I was waiting for him to meet me after he got off of work. And I'm sitting there and this guy's talking to me. And I'm talking to him, seemingly having a fine conversation. He was talking about what he did for work or whatever. We were just making conversation. I was telling him I was waiting for my boyfriend. And I said a comment related to like something I liked. Should have been in no way incendiary. And he just looked at me and like raised his voice and goes, "You're what's wrong with America."
Oh.
And then got up and left to go to the bathroom or something. And I was like,
And you'll remember
and I
what
was
you
just
said?
like really, I just sat there at first because I was so dumbfounded by what the guy had said that I was like, and then my now husband, but boyfriend at the time, got there and I was like telling him about what happened. And then the guy like never talked to me again after that. He like moved somewhere else and like paid his tab or whatever because it was like a packed bar. And I just remember sitting there just like, that is so bizarre. And also like I'm concerned for any person that mandates ever because that was like the most bizarre interaction for like no
Right.
reason. Yeah. Because
Okay.
I think they had like Bachelor in Paradise on or something. And I was like, oh, I could watch that here or there. And it was something very like innocuous. It was like something random like TV show. It was like nothing like that should have been. It was small talk. Like it was like there wasn't, you know what I mean? Like I was just like, what? Did someone hurt you? Like what?
Wild.
I don't know. That's not
Which,
that's not like crazy, but it just like was like
Right.
the first thing that came to mind when you asked that question, which is the design of these questions. It's like
That's
there was
funny.
nothing like crazy about that, but it was weird.
Which like I could binge Bachelor in Paradise. Sometimes I need a good trash TV.
I don't know. It was very strange. I was just
Funny.
like, okay, all right then.
Okay, so mine happened
What about you?
very recently.
Oh,
I'm in the store with my husband and my daughter. We're just shopping for groceries here. And, the aisles in the grocery store, like if you see someone coming down the aisle, like, and you're looking at one thing for like an item, I was looking for like pasta sauce. You tend to move closer to the item that you're looking at to give people room, like when they're walking by,
yeah,
right?
of course.
This
Yeah, to be
guy,
polite.
he intentionally sees what I'm looking at and like tries to walk in front of me and like makes a deal of saying like, excuse me. And I'm like, okay, I'll step backwards then. Fine. No big deal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at my pasta sauce. And then he just starts like, he's like, by the way, I really like your outfit. I'm wearing my Lulus and a crop top that is no longer a crop top because I have to pull it down. I'm basically Winnie the Pooh over here. It's my shirt. It's not. I'm like, we just need to go grocery shopping. Not the best look. He's like, I'm trying to look for more form-fitting stuff. Everything I wear is loose, and you're just wearing something so nice and form-fitting. My husband's right here, and he's watching the whole thing happening. I like look at him, and I look at the guy. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. Like, so awkward. And I'm like looking at my husband. I'm like, were you not going to save me? Were you not going to say something? You clearly saw this awkward interaction. I'm like rubbing my head like, okay, like, because he kept talking and talking, and then like he eventually left, and he was like, no, he looked like he was gonna leave. I'm like, what? Seriously? You just witnessed this man compliment me and talk to me in a creepy way. Like, it wasn't like it was a really like he was lingering a little too long kind of way. And he was just like, oh, it was kind of funny. I'm like, you're supposed to be protecting my protector. I'm not your entertainment here. So, yeah.
Okay, girl, have you been reading too much romantasy and too much dark romance? Or what are we expecting him to do?
I need to touch her and die. I need to touch her and die. That did not happen.
I feel like that might be a tad extreme. Just a smidgen. Just a little tiny
just
bit.
A hint. Yeah. Just a hint of the...
A little smidge.
Hey, like the... Yeah. Hey, wife. What are you doing? Let me just walk up next to you. Or something. Anything. Help me.
Yeah.
Nothing. So, all trust was lost.
Yeah.
That day.
That's funny. You're nice, though. Like, that's nice of you to, like, keep talking. Because the way I wouldn't...
I'm like...
would not.
I have an awkward laugh, and I've always had this awkward laugh. My brother used to make fun of me for it, because if I talk to customer service people, like as like a teenager, or I talk to someone random, I have like this very awkward laugh. And the awkward laugh was definitely coming out of my body. Like, I was just like,
was it like inviting?
No, maybe, I hope not. It was, I hope it doesn't. I'm just like awkwardly like, okay, let me look at the
things I learn about you
sauce.
In these questions. I swear to God, the things I learn. I'm like, what?
Well, you haven't seen me awkward. Like, it's just
no,
like around
really.
Like random strangers. Like, I just get an awkward laugh, especially if I'm uncomfortable. Because if I laugh it away, then maybe it's not uncomfortable, but it still is. Yes. It clearly doesn't work. Worst defense mechanism in the world.
That's not great.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap up, let's talk about what's coming up next in Book Club After Dark.
Next week, we are going to jump back into the Crowns of Nyaxia, and we are going to be talking Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. And then the rest of this month, because next week after that, we have a really big announcement. So I'm really excited that we are interviewing Bryn motherfucking Weaver.
Yay.
I'm really excited about this. I cannot believe we're interviewing Bryn Weaver. Yeah, that, I'm just saying it hasn't really hit me.
Still processing.
I'm really excited. I'm still processing this. Stick with us. We are interviewing Bryn this month. You're going to catch that. We are also covering Slaying the Vampire Conqueror next week. And then we, of course, are going to jump into Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk, which is, we'll talk all about that whole way that entire series kind of breaks out into the duologies and the standalones and the whole world of the Crowns of Nyaxia series by Carissa Broadbent. And we look forward to continuing to dissect those novels with you.
And don't forget, we want to hear from you. If you have thoughts on The Housemaid or suggestions for future reads, drop a comment below on one of our social media platforms, Book Club After Dark Pod. Show us your fan art, theories, or anything bookish you'd like to share.
Yep. You can also visit our website, bookclubafterdark.co. Stay up to date on our cozy content and check out our merch.
That's all for tonight. Sleep tight, night owls. Until next time, happy reading.